Welcome everyone. So in this video we'll go over how to create a reusable text field using the React Hook form and MUI libraries. And this way you'll just have an easy way to create new text fields that are consistent across the application. And so as you can see here, this is just one example of how we're using it, where we're passing the label, the name, which is the name associated in your use form hook. So whichever the type is here, that's the name that you would associate within that text field there. And then for the input props, these are optional. Just for the character count down below, we add in the max length. And then for the read-only, it's just if you want to limit it to specific permissions, you can pass in a read-write boolean, and then it'll mark it as read-only and change the color to whatever you have as a secondary color. And just to see how easy this is, we can just create one real quick. So say we want to add in the person ID. So to actually do that, we can just type in here RH form text field. We can get the label out of there. And then for the name, that would be the nested value that we saw in that type. So that would be person.person ID. And then as you can see here, we have that text field created and it's all linked up to React Hook form already. Because as you can see, we have the default ID 01, and that was already populated there. Let's just delete that since that was an example. So we'll just expand out that person basic form a little bit. So in this type here, you can see that there's additional attributes that we don't have in the UI side over there. So just take the preferred name, job title, and say person ID, and see how long that would take to add. Alright, so we're on this field here, and just to add in 3 new fields, we just have to go with 1, 2, and 3. So just with 3 Control Z's, we got these 3 forms, or 3 fields created, and they're all linked up to the use form hook already, and we have no extra work to do. We just have to place them in there and just make sure the types and validations are set. So yeah, if you have any questions, comments, if you have a different approach, I'm happy to hear in the comments. There'll be chapters as well in the video, so feel free to skip around to different components we walk through. We'll just start from the top here. We'll go through the MUI text field and then hit the React Hook form text field and then see, just to verify how it's working within the form there. The reason to go 2 levels here is just say we want to use this text field outside of React Hook form. We would still want to keep the consistency across the application, so this has the main styles here, and then the React Hook form text field has more of the logic to get the React Hook form parts linked up, the validations and all the other features it has. Within this MUI text field here, we are extending the text field props from materialui, so that's just, if we want to, we can change the stylings and any other parts of this text field. We have this state set, which uses the value of the value passed in, and that's coming from the React Hook form text field itself, as you can see with this value. Just to keep track of the value, and then also use it for this max character count. If the max length is specified here, we grab the max length, and then down below the text field we have this form helper text, which is only applied if the max length is used. And then on the other side of that, as you type in, you'll get the length of the input value as that's changed and just display that to the users. We have this handle change function, which is also part of the character count length, but this just basically sets the value of the set input value. To get to the actual text field component, we have these default set, so we have the variant, the margin, the color, that can be overridden with the props if needed. And then we have the input props, which we separated that out just to use the read-only flag in different areas. On the input label props, we check if it's read-only, and then if it is, we add a shrink to the MUI side of things, just so it has a better look to it. Because right now, say you have this first name as read-only. Let's go here. So let's go to the basic form. Yeah, so say we have this first name as read-only here. Right now with that shrink, you can see that the name is just sitting up there, and it's not expandable these editable ones. So with this, if we took that off, it would still be read-only, and you can see the different color, but like when you click on it, it opens up, and that could be kind of deceiving to the users. So that's the reasoning behind this shrink here. And then, so yeah, after you spread the props, we add in the on change, which uses the handle change, and then also the on change that's passed from the props up here. We don't want that to be overridden, just so we get this count correctly. And then last, we have the value, which again, we don't want that to be overridden, so we're setting that to the input value that we set with the state up here. Yeah, that's the quick overview of this text field component, which works with and without the React Hook Form text field calling it. So yeah, we can use this in different forms as needed. The next one we have is React Hook Form Text Field Component, which is kind of the outer wrapper, which links up the React Hook Form functionality using the context. What we have up top again is just extending the MUI text field props and then having an additional prop of the name. And this is what helps us associate the React Hook Form element is this name here, because that's passed into the controller down below here. And that is what we have in this type here. So you just have to match up the name to whatever specific form element you need. Right. So along with that, we have this use form context. So this is how we get the actual control element that's needed to link up to the correct form. And then, so we have this form controller all the way on the outer wrapper. I believe this is just from MUI. And then within that, we have the controller from React Hook Form, and that takes the control we grab from context and the name we have in the props. And so these two help us populate the props for this render here. So with these two are set correctly, the props, like the field, different values in the field state, and there are several other props here that we're not, we go there, like form state. But having the control and name here will set these to the correct values as needed. And then so in this render function, you can see we pull out like specific elements, and then we put them into the props here. So we have the full width. We're mainly using this here is for, we have like a grid layout, and just having a full width helps us style it a little better. For the on blur, there's specific cases where we're using like a multi-edit grid where we need to like pass in an on blur function to actually do some additional logic. So what we did was pass in a props on blur here. So we can see we pulled out the on blur from the text field props and then combine that with the on blur from the React Hook Form field itself. And that's kind of similar to what we were doing on the MUI text field with the on change, with the handle change, and the on change. So after that, we spread out the text field props and just add in as needed, just so that can be passed in again to that MUI text field. Let's take the value from this render again, and we do append an empty string. I think we did that because of some issues we were getting with like controlled versus uncontrolled components. So defaulting to a string instead of like undefined or something else helps with that. For the error, that's just taking the error from the field state. Same thing with the helper text, that's taking the specific message from the field state that's returned. And then the input ref becomes like the ref in React Hook Form. Materialui, like text field, didn't have a ref, it just has an input ref, so that's the one we hooked it up to. And yeah, so that's the React Hook Form reusable component, which again uses the context from the use form context, actually link it up to whichever form provider it's sitting within there. Because like say we have this person basic form, we'll just say we like put it outside. Yeah, so you can see here we'll just get like is null. So yeah, that covers the MUI text field, React Hook Form text field. And then yeah, we went over this one earlier as well. So if you have any remaining questions or anything, leave a comment. And then the next video we can add in some other logic.